Hi everyone, I'm Renee and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you a cake inspired by the new animated Addams Family movie out this weekend. I grew up watching the old black and white reruns of the TV show, so I was super excited to see this new animated movie coming out. My son has already told me that we are definitely going to see it this weekend. The new movie inspired the color palette for this fault line cake, and the tentacles coming out of the middle of the cake are a nod to the family's pet octopus. While this cake is Addams Family inspired, it also makes just a great festive Halloween cake. If you're ready to see how I made it step by step, let's get started. I started by leveling my cakes. For this cake, I'm using 3 7-inch rounds of my vanilla cake recipe, which I will have linked in the description box for you. Then I assembled the cake, filling it with some of my chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream, another recipe that I will have linked. Then I crumb coat the cake before popping it in the refrigerator to chill. I tinted some of my chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream black. I used that to ice around the middle of the cake before smoothing it out. This will give us a nice black background for those tentacles to be reaching out from. Then with some plain white buttercream, I'm going to ice around the base of the cake and around the top portion of the cake, leaving a gap in the middle, and that will create the fault line. Ice the top of the cake before smoothing everything out. First, I used a straight edge scraper to make sure that the sides were nice and straight. Then I used a pattern scraper to create stripes on the side of the cake. This tool is by PME, and I will have that linked in the description box along with a full list of supplies for this cake. I filled in the stripes closest to the fault line with some of my white buttercream, and then it was really easy to go in with more of the black buttercream to fill in the other stripes. I wanted the edge closest to the fault line to be white so that the purple edging that I'm going to paint on will show up. Then I used the straight edge of that PME scraper to remove all of the excess icing and leave me with nice clean stripes. And then of course I leveled out the top. To give some detail to that fault line edge, I used some gel food color in the shade Eggplant by Americolor mixed with some lemon extract to create a watercolor paint. And I just haphazardly painted that fault line edge all the way around the cake on the top and bottom. For the top of the cake, I wanted to use a navy blue as an accent color, so I have a ganache drip. I colored some white chocolate ganache with a midnight blue, and I spread that around on the top of the cake after letting the ganache cool. And then I used a bottle to go around the edge and enhance all of the drips. Then immediately pop this into the refrigerator so the ganache can set up. I made some different meringue shapes for the top of the cake. Here my meringue batter is tinted a light purple with some black gel color striping in the bag. I used a 1M tip to pipe out rosettes as a nod to Morticia's love of gardening her dead roses. And I tinted some of the meringue batter black and used a French star tip to pipe out mustaches as a little representation of Gomez. And finally, for a third shape, I just created some simple meringue kisses striped with some of the navy blue. And to make this cake creepy and kooky, mysterious and spooky, I have tentacles that will be coming out from inside that fault line. So I have some purple fondant that I just rolled into a long, thin cone shape, flatten the thicker side, and then use my fingers to smooth down one side of it. That will create sort of a ridge, and then on the other side you have a nice flat surface. Use a little bit of water and just dot all the way down the tentacle in pairs, and the little dots of water should get closer together as you get to the thinner end of the cone. Then roll tiny balls of white fondant and stick them to those little bits of water to create the little suction cups on the tentacle. And do this all the way down the tentacle. There should be lots of those little suction cups. Then I went in with the end of a paintbrush into each of those little balls of white fondant to make a depression so it looks more like a suction cup and less like a little ball of fondant stuck onto the tentacle. Next it's time to give the tentacles some movement, so it's going to look extra creepy coming out of the middle of that cake. First, I used a toothpick to make a little hole in the flat end of the tentacle. We'll use this toothpick reinserted later to attach it to the cake. Then I used bits of paper towel to create curves and movement in each of the tentacles. I made 8 of them, and some of those suction cups are facing up, some facing down, and you're going to let these dry. Now it's time to bring everything together to finish off this cake. On the top of the cake, I used some of my black buttercream with a French star tip to create little kisses all the way around in a ring on top of the cake. This will give us a base for all of the other decorations to stick to. I added some sprinkles in black, white, and purple. Then I placed my meringue cookies, which have been baked and then cooled. I finished off the top of the cake using my black buttercream to pipe some black leaves, which don't really come across on camera, but add just a little extra detail around those rosettes. Then my tentacles have dried. I reinsert a toothpick into each one in that hole. Because I used fondant and not gum paste, it should reinsert very easily, and that will help hold the tentacle to the cake. Just insert them evenly around the inside of that fault line. And that's it. I really love how this Addams Family inspired cake came out. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos, and be sure to click that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload.